In this lecture, you will learn how to use the OpenAI models from within your Python applications through the APIs. To do that, go to the OpenAI playground. Under the system message, enter you are a AI tutor. You are a AI tutor. Under the user message, ask it what is OpenAI. Submit. And the model will send back a response defining what OpenAI is using the assistant role. Now click on view code, select Python from the drop-down, copy the code, go back to your IDE, right click on the project, create a new Python file, call it hello OpenAI. Double click to maximize it and paste the code you have copied. Scroll all the way up and I'll walk you through every line here. The first line is from OpenAI package, import OpenAI. OpenAI is the key class inside the OpenAI library and it is the client. So you create the OpenAI object and assign it to a variable called client. This OpenAI class knows how to make the API calls to the models deployed on OpenAI. So use the client class. On the client class, there is an object of type chat. And that chat object or chat class internally has an object called completions, and that completions has a method called create. This create method is responsible for making the backend call by using the model we specify and the messages we give it. So these messages are just like what you see on the UI here, represented as a Python object. The system message, the user message, etc. are represented as a Python dictionary here. It is a list of Python objects internally. As you can see, list of dictionaries. So under role system, the content you are sending in is you are an AI tutor. Role user, the prompt we are sending in is what is OpenAI. And this is the response we got back. Role assistant, the content, it defines what OpenAI is. Let's take out this assistant message. We're going to send in this prompt from the program and get a response back for that. And optionally, you can pass in the configuration like temperature, max tokens, top P, which you have already learned about from the playground. So this create method will invoke the APIs. It will use the APIs, make the backend call, and you get a response back. We'll print that response to see what it is. Print response. Right click, run hello OpenAI API. At this point, the create method will hit the models deployed on OpenAI and we get a response back, which is a chat completions Python object. Copy that response, go to your text editor, paste it. So before you navigate through this Python object here, let me show you how it internally looks like in JSON response that comes back. So this is the JSON response which is coming back from the OpenAI, and thanks to the API, it is converting it into this Python object. It is deserializing it into this Python object, which is of type chat completions. So in this JSON, there will be a unique ID generated for every response by OpenAI, and the object type is chat completion. Created timestamp will be there. The model that will be used is there, and choices. This is where the actual response lies. Choices is a JSON array. It can have multiple choices inside there. So each choice will have an index and the finish reason. If the response was generated successfully, the finish reason will be stop, and I'll talk a little more about this finish reason in lectures later on. And in there you have a message. The message will have role assistant and the content. So you'll navigate through these choices and get the response out of it. You can send in a request to generate multiple responses for the same prompt. In that case, this choices element or this choices array will have multiple objects inside it. For now, there is only one object, but as you will see in the next lecture, you can get back multiple responses as well. So to navigate through this response, go back to your program, copy the previous print statement, paste it. Response dot choices will get us to this choices element, and this array will have multiple choices in there. Choices of 0 will get us to the very first element, and the only element we have in this case, we are asking for only one response by default. Dot message dot content. That is how you navigate through this. So even if you look at this Python object, chat completion has ID, etc., and it has a choices. Inside that choices list in Python, there can be multiple choices coming back. In this case, there is only one choice, and that guy has a message, and that message has the content. So that is exactly what we are navigating to. Right click, run. This time it should also display the text for us along with the response object we are printing. There we go. So that's the actual text response that is coming back. I'll copy it to show you. There we go. So that's the definition of what OpenAI is. If you scroll all the way up, you can ask me, where is the OpenAI key here? We have initialized the environment variable to the OpenAI API key, but we haven't specified it here. By default, this client object is internally using the OpenAI API key. It looks for an environment variable called OpenAI API key, and it will automatically use it thanks to this create method, which does it for us. But if you want to pass it explicitly to the constructor of this OpenAI, you can pass in API underscore key is equal to any string value. But in our case, we have it initialized. OS, let's import the OS package. Import OS. OS dot environ within square brackets, within single quotes, OpenAI underscore API underscore key. So for some reason, if you have initialized your API key with some other environment variable name other than OpenAI underscore API key, you can pass it by reading it like this and assigning it to this parameter in the constructor. If you run your program again, it should still work. And we should get the definition for what OpenAI is. There we go.